Everybody having a good time so far? All right, I like that. How was that I'm wearing Vivo footwear, by the way. 3D printed shoes that biodegrade. How cool is that? That's the future. The future is now. So very grateful to have Vivo footwear. Vivo barefoot. So these things, it's like having bare feet, which is, I guess, the best thing for you, so you can reform the arches in your feet, right? So me, I have bad knees, which then create bad back, then create, all of our bad posture. All right, I think we finally have critical mass here.
Is this thing on?
Welcome everybody back to Regenerate, which is a series of events that we're doing on a monthly basis here at the Climate Innovation Hub, right here in Little Haiti, which I've been working in for the last 20 years. This space has been a community center for almost 2 decades. Muksha, who's familiar with Muksha here? Raise your hand. I think there was somebody from Muksha here. Okay, we got a few people. So Muksha is an arts collective here in Miami that still exists, was in this space, a nonprofit. They would do really cool events here with the Marleys and other people. And so we're continuing that tradition right here in Little Haiti of gathering community. And this we're doing in a different way with a different focus, really on kind of going beyond sustainability, right? I think everybody is familiar with what sustainability is. Sustainability is kind of the status quo. It's just sustaining the use of resources, sustaining our energy, sustaining our resources, and really that's not enough anymore. In order for us to transcend the current situation we're in, the climate crisis, all the confluence of crises that we're facing, we have to go from sustainability to regeneration, which means we're actually giving back more than we take, okay? So we have to go from degeneration to regeneration. And that's really the whole concept behind what we're doing here at Regenerate. And myself as a placemaker and who studied under the folks like Tony Goldman, Craig Robbins, and others who have been big placemakers here in the city, mainly with arts and culture. And really my background was in spirituality, growing up on an ashram, and then really getting into hospitality, and then into entertainment, and then really into real estate and placemaking. And so really the idea behind regenerative placemaking is combining the concept of regenerative development, which has been going on for 30 years. We talked about Buckminster Fuller, and really taking that forward to what placemaking is. The cool thing about placemaking is that anybody can be a placemaker. Everybody here is a placemaker. Artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, restaurant owners, small businesses like we used to have back in the old days, going back to medieval times. Those are the placemakers of a community. So a community is comprised of many different small businesses and many different actors, and those are the placemakers of a particular place. So placemaking is based around where's the location, where's the history. Do you guys know where you are right now, where your feet are on the ground? Where are we? Anybody? Little Haiti, which was recently designated about 5 years ago. Before that, this was called Little River. Before that, it was called Lemon City, right? And so that's all about storytelling, right? It's all about the people who are here are the placemakers, and all of it's true. This was all citrus groves at the turn of the century. In Magic City, we have the Dupuy Medical Office Building. That's one of the oldest buildings that predates Miami. That's right here in this neighborhood, in Magic City Innovation District that I was involved in. So to me, place is important. It's important the people who came before us. Giselle talked about the indigenous Tequesta, and Miami meant the city of water. That's what Miami means, and we're surrounded by water. So I'm going to shut up and stop talking because I can talk for a long time. But I'm joined by women, these 3 incredible women, and Duarte from Portugal, who are all representing different aspects of what the future of cities is working on. And really what's amazing about it is that, there's regenerative placemakers all over the world that don't know that they're actually placemaking. They don't know exactly how they contribute to the richness of a culture. And in regenerative placemaking, which I've just finished the first book that we've written on it. It will be published next year, and it will be an open source framework that all of you and many people will be able to adaptively repurpose, like we did this warehouse, to utilize for your best interest. The things that we did right, but mostly the things we did wrong in Wynwood, in the Arts District, in Magic City Innovation District, what we're doing now in Phoenix Arts and Innovation District. So what I like is it's better to show people instead of telling people of what it really looks like. What does regenerative placemaking looks like? Well, this building is showing you a little bit about taking something old and renewing it, bringing it forward, making it alive. That's what regenerative placemaking is all about, is enriching and increasing the value of something, not just the financial value, but the social, the cultural, all of those values, all of the capitals that we talk about. So I'm really excited to be joined by Emily Moody from Jacksonville, our Phoenix and Arts. Yes. She's our Director of Community Affairs, and she's also a small business owner, a regenerative placemaker herself, is in the arts and has done incredible work there. So she's going to talk a little bit about that project, Phoenix Arts and Innovation District. We have Amy Kay next to her, our incredible brand alchemist for Cho Ventures and Future of Cities. Let's give a round of applause for Amy. And we'll talk about a little bit of what this hub is doing. And Vanessa Avila. Yeah, we got some fans here, Ronnie. Our resident astrologer and our community manager at Chosen Retreat and here at the hub. And then, last but not least, Duarte Ribeiro, who, yes, Duarte, let's give him, our newest addition to the team of Future of Cities Portugal. So what we'll do is we'll keep this fun, popcorn style, and what I'd love to do is hear from each of you, what does regenerative placemaking mean to you in your project, in the work that you're doing, and how is this something that everybody can be part of? And so we'll start with you, Emily. You can tell a little bit about your background in the project and what you're doing.
Thank you, Tony. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be in Miami today. It's a beautiful day. It's definitely a lot chillier up in Jax when I left this morning. But thank you for inviting me to be here and share a little bit about what Phoenix Arts and Innovation District is up to. So like Tony said, anyone can be a placemaker, and that is my background, but I always joke I've been placemaking long before it became a buzzword, when there was no term necessarily to it except you're down and dirty in the community and doing DIY pop-up events, and that's really where my passion came from in Jacksonville. I moved around a lot in my teens and 20s, and I came back to Jacksonville because I'm a third-generation resident there, and I really wanted to make my mark in that city. There's so much you can do. It's not oversaturated. You can really bring cool cultural arts and music and tons of entertainment to the city. So I wanted to be a part of growing that. And so for the past 20 years, that's what I've been doing. I came on board with Future of Cities almost 3 years ago, and we just opened our first adaptive reuse building about a month ago. So for us to finally have our first building off the ground, it's a huge accomplishment for us. And really, we have 8.3 acres of property, so this is not just the end of the road for us. This is just the beginning. We have another incredible adaptive reuse building that's already under renovation now that will be housing micro retail, our first food and beverage tenant, which is already signed on board, which is also a neighborhood family that lives right down the street from the project. I mean, we want to nurture and incubate these small businesses. We don't want credit. Although credit tenants sound really nice in terms of paying the bills, the credit tenants aren't the ones that bring that vibe, that culture, that make it interesting for people. And I don't know about you, but when I travel, I seek out the cool, weird places and the divey spots to go. And for me, that's a goal for us, is becoming a must-see destination for Jacksonville, Florida. So we're excited about Phoenix, and we have more information back at the table over there, and I'm gonna be here all evening, so I'd love to chat with all of you and share more about what we're doing. We're co-creating. We can't do this alone. We're a small but mighty team, but we need other people who want to be trailblazers with us and see our vision and want to make it happen alongside us. So thank you.
Same question.
Sure.
So regenerative placemaking, to me, has become such a contemplation, right? And kind of home base being the first place that we check in with. From holistic place-based approach, we can seek externally the neighborhood and the place, but first sitting with self and determining kind of the place within that you want to navigate from. And for me, I grew up in California, so moving to Miami 2 years ago is a new place for me. And coming with zero expectations to this new place, I've learned so much from the communities that I've gotten introduced to, especially here in this neighborhood, and starting to see how community as the kind of first circle, once you extend beyond self, is then into the community, and is that the community of family, and then beyond that into the community of your inner circle, and then beyond that into your neighborhood, and how that continues to expand into culture, and how that culture starts to develop. It's a dynamic co-creation, and it's also an identification with the land and nature informing the culture and the community that gets developed within those spaces. So really that has been my personal journey with the contemplation of regenerative placemaking. If I don't feel regenerative or regenerated myself, how will I be of service to anyone in my community? How will I show up in my culture to support other cultures and to cross-pollinate and connect with other individuals in an open and kind-hearted way? How will I give reverence for the natural environment that is allowing me to breathe and speak these words to you now and to come to you from this place, right? From a place of the heart. And I think when we think of this in the context of the built environment, this space specifically is a demonstration of aspiring net zero office space. So we have 208 solar panels on the roof, adaptively repurposed, so we've integrated as best as we can in kind of the construction process. No new concrete was poured, kind of demonstrating what is upcycled and recycled materials in our office space look like, and being the ones that demonstrate the future where you're prioritizing nature in the place, because that's going to benefit the community, the culture, and yourself. And so to me, regeneration is what gives life to all, including ourselves, all that we're in community with, and how we can continue to facilitate the life of the natural world that gives us so much. So that is definitely what we're doing here at the Hub. It's an intersection of intentional community, of architecture, design, real estate development, creative placemaking, well-being, wellness, and so much more. And so to be a node in that way where we're holding a space, but really for everyone else in this space to make the place. And so want to thank everyone for coming to Regenerate. It is definitely a labor of love. So much love went into doing this during Art Week, especially a very busy week in Miami, and seeing the natural impacts of the traffic and all of these things that the culture of Miami has developed, which is a beautiful experience to showcase the creativity that exists here. And also we want to sit with self and continue to ask those questions of how can we navigate this space more regeneratively. And I think that's just an open-ended maybe question to everyone here. And yeah, I've been with Future of Cities for about 1.5 years now, and it's continuously evolving and being co-created. So anyone that's here tonight, please stick around for the remaining panels that we have, because there's so many unique voices throughout the environmental space and tech and AI and well-being to continue to have those conversations and ground it in what we can do together. And yeah, I think that's kind of my perspective of regenerative placemaking.
It's a tough act to follow there, Bonnie. You got to tune into the stars. Our resident astrologer is going to
really,
give her perspective from Chosen Retreat.
Is this thing on? Okay, great. I have 5 minutes left. Is that okay? Okay.
You guys enjoying this? Okay, good.
Beautiful. First off, I'm so honored to be on this panel with such incredible human beings and for us to all be here together in this time. I don't even know where to start. So for me, regenerative development is teaching people to love their environment, to really have a relationship with everything around us, with nature, people, all sentient beings. So I actually want to take just a second for all of us to just close our eyes, whether you're standing or sitting, and just gently close your eyes, hear the noises around you, and just center within yourself. And maybe this is something new to you, maybe it's not. But let's take a moment for us all to just breathe in together. So inhale through the nose, and exhale back out through the mouth. And take a moment to be grateful to you. All the things that you've lived to get here to where you're at right now, all of us. And as was mentioned before, honoring our ancestors, honoring the land, honoring the stars and everything around us. We can gently start opening your eyes again and coming back to the present moment. I feel like every time I go to Chosen, which is our beautiful demonstration project in Sebastian, Florida, about 2 hours from here, we're on a 22,000 acre nature preserve on the St. Sebastian River, and we're on 40 acres. I don't know if I already mentioned that. This is the feeling that I get whenever I go to Chosen. It's located in one of the most biodiverse lagoon systems in the Northern Hemisphere, and there's so much wildlife. There's so much life at Chosen. And Chosen is a place where there's so much legacy in the land, and I want to honor those ancestors too, which is Tony's ancestors. This project is almost origin. It's what ties in the whole ecosystem of Future of Cities, where people have a chance to reconnect back to nature. And I want to share that in one of our last closing circles, one of our guests, it was the first time that he had walked on the grass barefoot in a long time, and there was tears. And that was so impactful that nature is the new luxury. I have a background in commercial real estate, and besides being an astrologer my whole life, and something that I always wanted to integrate into real estate was how we develop. I didn't understand why there was so much transactional energy in the way we built things. And this is a time for us to remember that we are nature, and we're all mirrors of each other, and we're here to co-create this new world together. I want to invite there's so much to talk about for Chosen, but I want to invite all of you to come and experience it. It's 2 hours away, so it's not too far. And we have artisan markets every second Sunday of each month. And we have retreats, and we have incredible partners, which one of them is here today, Carlton Ward, which we've partnered up with him because a big part of our mission is to bring consciousness to the preservation of the wildlife corridor in Florida. So this is in our backyard. This is, when we walk outside, it's here. So sometimes we're so convoluted with energy in the cities that we don't even notice that our nervous system is so out of whack. So when we go back to nature, we take a walk, we look at the sun, I don't know, you take a breath of fresh air. It's reminding ourselves that we're here. We are the new ancestors. We are the ancestors, and it's up to us to create this new, beautiful, regenerative future. Yeah.
Let's be good ancestors, right? I love that. Amazing. So next up is Duarte from Portugal, from Porto, the city of exploration where all the explorers left Europe to come to the New World. Talk about placemaking or place taking, right? So that's another part of the work and the trauma, the cultural trauma that has happened through the history that we have to recognize and honor. And it's really exciting. Portugal is such an innovative place, but I'll let Duarte talk a little bit about what we're doing in Portugal.
Yeah. Thank you, Tony. Just to say that I just came from Chosen, and it was my second experience, but it was incredible. I took the kids, so I took the Zen out of Chosen, and I did walk barefoot, but to chase the kids and to get them. But it's a really incredible place. So my take on this is I wouldn't be here without, or I wouldn't be here first without the program that we are running that I'm going to explain, but without the concept of community. So for me, regenerative placemaking is all about community. And Tony and Jimena, we met 3 years ago because they were looking at this program called the Golden Visa. So for those that don't know the program, this is a residency by investment program. It's still live. It's all over Europe. Portugal is one of the most competitive programs. But you invest 500,000 euros to get a passport, a European passport for you or for your family. And that's what Tony and Jimena were looking for. They came. I run my own family office. We do many things, mostly real estate, but tech, wine, and other sectors. And a lot of people reached out to us, friends, because they were looking for values-aligned investments to get the Golden Visa. So we had one of our office buildings that we were just finishing. We decided to make it ready for the Golden Visa. We onboarded Tony and Jimena and 30 other people, and that's kind of how it all started. We started conversations around, okay, the program is incredible because it's very attractive as a way to give you a mobility, to give you a second passport, and everything that takes for many people is a security for the future. For many people is, I want to move now or later, or I want to have the freedom for my kids to go to Europe and stay how much time they want, or live, study. So there's many reasons why you would get it, but in a world that is more and more digital, that is trends, that we are going beyond the borders and we are creating these tribes, these communities, spiritual, these practice, these regenerative communities. I think programs like this make a lot of sense. And so that's when we started conversation, and Tony and Jimena invited me because we had the background of the real estate, and we were incorporating some of these regenerative placemaking mindset and practices, although we were not very familiar with the themes and the actual concepts. We decided this is a great excuse to bring future of cities to Europe, start in Portugal, leverage the Golden Visa program to build community, to offer this to our friends of friends, and then to open it up, and then to start really building and bringing all of this incredible and important knowledge that Tony and the team has built over these years to Portugal. And for me, this is what really, really excites me, because it's easy to understand, especially a place like in the US. Here, the country really developed because of the ability to attract some of the best minds in the world. And although I really, really love Portugal, and as many of you have probably been there or will be, for sure, all invited. It's like a really good place, very quality, everything. Like, it's really good, but we're still a small, isolated country in Europe. So the fact that suddenly, because of the Golden Visa, because of Future of Cities, because of our networks, we are bringing values-aligned knowledge, investment, and really solutions to prototype in Portugal. That's very, very unique. And that really, really gets me excited about bringing my own resources, my own family office work, my network in Portugal, all in to what we are doing, and opening the doors to Portugal, to everyone that is coming through our program or not through our program, but with this mindset of values align and the future we want to create. And we really cannot do it alone. And so the fact that we have these type of programs that allows us to do it in a community and in a way that it is regenerative, that is inclusive, that is bringing everyone on board, for me, it's why I'm so excited to and why both me and my wife, who works and we work together, just very easily said yes to Tony and Jimena, because it was a no-brainer, as it is probably if you want to discover more about the program itself, it's also a no-brainer. Like, it just makes sense. So because everything just makes sense, it's meant to be. So that's where we are and how we are so excited about Portugal. I'll be here for the next 2-3 weeks. I'll be here at this event. You can come and talk to me. If you don't want to talk with me, you can drink and taste a little bit of port wine. So we'll just do that. And I'm really excited to tell you more about launching Future of Cities in Europe and really mobilizing everything that we have in Portugal to this vision and to this future we want to create with you and that we are creating.
Thank you, Duarte. And I'm so excited about leaping over the pond because it's not just Portugal, but it's the entire European Union that you get a passport to, 27 countries for a $500,000 investment. And it's the only way that you can actually get exposure to our entire vehicle of Future of Cities, which is Chosen, the Hub, and Jacksonville, because right now there's no tool or mechanism to invest unless you're doing direct investment. And you can directly invest in those projects, but this gives us a way that people can not only get a golden visa, but they can also get exposure to a regenerative placemaking projects around the country and around the world, which is really an exciting and a new innovative thing for us, because regenerative development is not transactional, as we talked about. This is regenerative. And so it's really about slow real estate and taking time and building authentic community, which should be more profitable than the traditional way of doing things. But in the current economic model, it's not that way because we're evolving capitalism. And so it will be that way. And that's why each of our projects are hybrid public-private partnerships, nonprofit standing shoulder to shoulder with for-profit, because we believe that's the way forward until there is a new system like Buckminster Fuller talked about. So this is the new system that we are co-designing, co-creating together. So I know we've gone over a little bit of time, but I wanted to know, I'll take 1 or 2 questions because I think that this panel only touched the surface and they will be in the booth, can talk to you afterwards. Does anybody have a question they would like to ask for any of the panelists? All right, so I'm going to give you the mic. You're going to say your name, where you're from.
Thank you. Matthew Corrin from Fort Lauderdale. Thanks for hosting, Tony. Just what you just said there, I'd love to hear more about how you incentivize creating what I call other forms of value. It's been termed other forms of capital, but one of my mentors recently mentioned that maybe switching from capital to the word value would be beneficial in the conversation. But how do we create other forms of value and then help us transition to that new model where we're not only making economically advantageous decisions, but socially, culturally, spiritual advantageous by creating more value in these systems?
Thank you. That's a great question. And I think it is important to address value versus capital, because not all value is addressed by financial value. There's time, there's knowledge, there's expertise. The impact of art, look at the impact that art has had in Miami. Miami was known as a sunny place for shady people for a long time, right? That's what Miami's known for. Miami Vice, it was Paradise Lost, cover of Time magazine, 1980. I was here. It was a very scary place to be that was known for the cocaine cowboys, right? Now what is Miami known for? Extravagant yachts and parties and artists and everything. You know, a lot of culture, a lot of art that didn't exist before Art Basel came here, before Wynwood came here. That's all cultural placemaking. That's all happened because of this changes. And so artists bring a lot of value. Creatives, innovators, small businesses, all of that, it has an intangible value, and there's many different ways, from time clocking and exchanging equal amounts of time with people to giving people participation in projects like we're doing in Jacksonville with our partners there. But does anybody want to answer that question? Have a response? They want to add? Emily?
Can you repeat the question? It's a long question. It was a long question.
I'll paraphrase. So he was saying that there's different forms of capital, but how in our projects are we valuing other forms of value other than financial capital? How are we valuing the people, the artisans, for example, that we have at the market, things like that. So in regenerative, I'll go into regenerative business a little bit because this is in the regenerative theory, but one of the things that we do is to support guilds of makers. In the natural environment, we have plant guilds, right? In permaculture, it's plants that work in symbiosis. And the plant kingdom, mycelium kingdom, is much more advanced than the human kingdom, right? Because they've been evolving a lot longer than us. And so they work together in symbiosis. We don't really know how to do that yet. We're still othering and figuring out how to, separate instead of come together and try to work in harmony. And so creating these artisan guilds, these artist guilds where we're helping to build and invest in small businesses here in Miami, they're chosen, and in Jacksonville, that's one way. And that's really more of like the medieval, Main Street small business incubator idea that's really keeping all of the capital in a circular way within the community. So that's circular economics and donut economics is one way of thinking about how to create value in other ways that's beyond financial value. And that's what we're doing in our projects. And there is no answer directly until you can disrupt the system. So right now, until there's a new system beyond capitalism, we have to work within those confines, evolve those confines, and then we can co-create what the new system is together. Yeah?
I will jump in on that real quick and just say, a good example for us in Jacksonville is a year and a half ago, we had this studio or this huge warehouse that now has been renovated, but the warehouse was sitting empty. A group of artists was located downtown. They were getting displaced from their studios downtown. We had the space. I talked to the team. We offered free space for them while they were looking for a new location. They ended up staying, 8 to 10 months there, and then we actually relocated them to another building, which they are all still in now, and growing those relationships. It's like the relationship capital that we're growing right now, and now one of those artists is actually going to be working with us to start to fill additional spaces for us. So she's going to kind of work as an artist liaison to be a leasing agent to the artists. But without starting from the grassroots side of where we gave them free space and growing those relationships, we wouldn't be having those opportunities today. So.
Yeah, and I'll give 2 cents real quick too. I think we often say this consciousness shift. We're raising consciousness. What does that mean? It means aligning our values with our actions, and it means investing in what is aligned with us spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of those aspects of self, which is not the natural system now. We're willing to compromise the natural environment very quickly to invest in it, and so how do we kind of flip the script so that is the priority, and then fund it, like incentivize it. Like it has to be a collective values reorientation to this is fucking valuable. Like, hello. Yeah, sorry, totally got excited about that one. But yeah, I think that's kind of sums it up. It's a values alignment so that we're funding. Right now, oftentimes artists are underfunded, right? It's a community or a culture that is often they're often compromised or not invested in as much. So how do we start to invest those resources into these communities and into the circular economies and support each other? Yeah.
So as one of my mentors, Bill Reed, says, is that nature doesn't compromise, nature harmonizes. And so humans can learn a lot from nature. And I think that's really what regenerative development, regenerative design does. And we don't put enough value on the things that are most important, culture and nature. We put a lot of money, a lot of value on economic return, and I think we've gotten past that point where I think we're all starting to wake up and realize that that it's important to change the way that we're doing things. I also want to recognize Andres Nava, Managing Director of Metro One Commercial. Raise your hand in the back. He's been placemaking, in the urban core with us for the last 11 years. And we've been shaping and curating neighborhoods from Wynwood to Little Haiti for a long time, focused on the butcher, the baker, the barber, the heart and soul of Main Street, the Zach the Bakers, the Panther Coffees, and have done over $4 billion worth of transactions, non-institutional, no CVS's, no Walgreens, none of that. So these are little leases. It takes a lot of little leases, and we're talking about transactions now, a lot of little leases to get up to $4 billion in transactions. So we're really proud of that and doing that in an intentional way. So let's give a big round of applause for all of our regenerative placemakers on the stage. You can see them in the booths back there. And turn it over to the next panel with Roxy.